We want you to really enjoy the subject. So today is a really sort of relevant topic. Calm in a crisis. Are you going through a crisis in your life? It could be a relationship, it could be money, it could be the next door neighbor from hell. Well, whatever it is that we're going through, we have a really appropriate person who's very conversed in how to deal with those situations and how we can pass through flying colours. So we have Dr. PRASHANT KAKODAY from Cambridge, a former ENT surgeon, now basically working in the private sector on a consultative basis. So without further ado, I would like to ask PRASHANT Bhai to come on stage. So a round of a warm applause for PRASHANT Bhai. And he will share some of his insights and wisdom into the topics, and I'm sure you're going to go away very illuminated. PRASHANT Bhai, thank you.
So the subject for today is, experiencing calm in the midst of crisis. I'm going to touch this subject from two angles. One is how we interpret things, our interpretation, how we create crisis from nothing. This is like an angle I'm bringing. And it is possible for us to create problems from our own mind. And the other subject we are going to touch is how we create a bondage with the outside world. And both these aspects create a situation where I am vulnerable, I am a victim. So the first aspect, our interpretation. And this is nicely demonstrated in one story. And in this story, in one village, this is a story from India, one village, one saint was passing through that village, and there is a dharmashala, so he is staying overnight in that dharmashala, and people of the village come to know that this great man is passing through their village, so they wanted to meet him and listen to him. But that was his day of silence. So they didn't know what can be done here, because he is there just for one day and that is a day of silence. But one man from the town, he said, I know the sign language, so he can speak in sign language and I can tell you what his message. So they were all happy, he was happy. So they gathered in one place, and this Mahatma, he pointed out one finger. So the man from the town, the interpreter, he pointed out two fingers. So this man thought for a while, and then he pointed out three fingers. And that man pointed out a fist to him. So that was end of the message. He said, thank you. So people asked this man, so what was the message? What is he trying to say? He said, this man is a very difficult man. He told me I am number one in telling lies. And it sort of, insulted me. So I told him I will ask two people from my town to take him out of the house, out of the town. So he said, in one day you told 3 lies. So I got even more angry and I pointed out a fist to him and he said he's sorry. So that was the message. Next day, before that Mahatma was to leave the town, that was not his day of silence anymore. So some people approached him and said, we got the interpretation, but what is your message? We want to hear from you. He said, that man from your town is a great man, that interpreter. I want to meet him again. They said, yes, why? He told me some new insights. They said, yes, what were the new insights? I told him there is one God, He told me, what do you think about manifest and unmanifest? Two aspects of God. Physical and non-physical. Corporeal, incorporeal. What are these two aspects of God? He said, this is a new thing for me, manifest, unmanifest. So I asked him, what do you think about Brahma, Vishnu, Shankar? The three. And he answered me back, even though there are three, they are merged into one. And he says, he is a great man in your town, and he had, give me new insights about manifest. God can be manifest and he is in unmanifest. This is our reality, and everything around us, even the words, these are signs. It's a sign language that is going on. And we have an option how I interpret everything. In Chinese, the letter that they draw for crisis, within that letter, the Chinese character, main part of that letter has got a symbol of opportunity. Anyone here knows Chinese? You will find, if you draw that, I learned how to draw that character, Chinese character. Main part of it is opportunity, but you add something more and it becomes crisis. And so this is our life, and I will take this in little more detail. But now I'm going to show some slides, and let us see how we create bondages. And lots of things are going on outside. It bothers me, crisis or otherwise, it bothers only if I have created a bondage. Some years ago, some comet hit Jupiter. So there was a big blast which could be seen from this earth even, through the telescope. But it was an entertainment for us because we are not in bondage. It is not affecting us. If it was affecting here, it would not be an entertainment. It would have been a crisis. So how I tie myself to things, and is it possible for us to remain free? That is an important aspect. Shall we, can you all see okay? Or should we lower the lights? In this we are seeing just a simple definition of life. And one nice definition is our life is interaction between the person and the environment. That is what the simple definition. So from birth to death, all that is happening, we are interacting with the world around us. And the world around includes not just the ozone layer, it includes your people, job, objects, everything around us. This is including the body, chemistry of the body. We are interacting with this environment. And we want harmony with this environment. When there is harmony, there is peace. When there is a mismatch, there is stress. With anything, it can be your relation in your house. It can be the temperature of this room. If there is a mismatch, the body will show stress chemicals. And this is like a simple, our life. Everyone is trying to create harmony by their own methods. They might like to earn lots of money so that they can build a castle and keep the bad guys away and create a micro harmony in that little castle. But the idea is we all want to create harmony. Now in this process of creating harmony, there are some personalities that find themselves in stress in a given situation. Same environment, but they find themselves in stress. They are called type A personalities. And type B personalities they are more casual, they can handle different situations. Understand? Like all of us, we want to create harmony. Most of us, we think we create harmony by changing the world around. Should we lower the lights here? It might make it easier. So if the job is creating, mismatch, and a person thinks he has to change the job. If some person is, your people at work creating a mismatch, you think you have to change, appoint someone else. If the temperature is a mismatch, change the temperature. This is the way we think. So we have to change the world outside. If the husband is a mismatch, then change the husband. So what we don't ask ourselves, do I need to change? Is there something within me that needs changing? And what is personalities tell us, type A personalities, same environment, and they find themselves, it is a crisis, it is stress. Some simple things, they are under stress. Type B personalities can deal with all the different situations more easily. There are the different personalities. Type A personalities have 7 times more heart attacks than type B personalities. All health problems are more in type A personalities. And even in life, type B personalities are more successful because people want to cooperate with type B personalities. People don't like to cooperate with type A, they sabotage. So these are like factors here. What is also seen, those who are type A today can become type B. Like we said, type A, same situation. Like if a type A person was to be here, he can find himself in a bad mood because the carpet color is not the right color that is his idea, or it doesn't match with the roof or something, and that is enough to put him in a bad mood. These are type A people. And they punish themselves as a result. People change. They don't remain type A. Personalities change. They are not in the genes. But they change only after crisis. Some kind of pain, some situation comes, and then that problem forces them to change the personality or change their attitude. If we change before crisis, then it is called wisdom. Our aim here is to see what is it that we can do here that we don't have to learn through pain. That is our intention. And that is the aim of the spiritual knowledge also. So let us see what is it that we can do there. Say someone says, okay, I'm willing to change. We all are somewhere in the between the type A and type B. We all have a room to shift. So if I'm to ask myself, what is required there? One nice way to see, don't be a slave to anything. That's the formula. More I become slave, then you are more vulnerable to crisis or to be affected. Slave and master. Let us try and see what this means. In our present society, slave and master model, you get it in prisons. In prison, there is a prison officer and there is a prisoner. And what happens? Prisoner cannot decide. Someone else decides for him. Some of us here, you've been to some prison, some activities in the prison, and you may be doing some program, prison officer comes, guard comes, and he tells, you have to go now to your cell, to your room. And he has no option. He has got half an hour to be outside, and when it finishes, he has to go. And whatever is given, food, he has to accept. That is what we mean by prisoner. He is not free himself. So this is the model of prison. The prison officer may choose to make him happy, but someone else decides to make him happy, someone else decides to make him unhappy. That is what the model of prison is. Now let us ask ourselves, we are in a free society, democratic system. Have you got any masters? Anyone here got masters? Can anyone else make you unhappy? And do we create our own masters? And how do we create our masters? Now, this is an important thing for us, because as we said, prisoner, slave is the lowest denomination in any society. And if we are a bit careless, we can create masters and create slaves ourselves and choose a lower quality of life. So here we are seeing how we create masters. We are seeing two individuals here. It could be a daughter and a mother. It can be any example. It can be two friends. But let us say one is the daughter, other is the mother. And daughter creates a small desire that mother will invite her to some family gathering. Some simple. And she got reason, mother has invited me every year, so she will invite me this year. She invites everyone else, so of course she will invite me. So in logic she gets full marks. But the moment she creates expectation, the other person is in charge to fulfill the expectation. And she may choose not to invite you. And then you find yourself in a predictable reaction. You may be disappointed, angry, upset. You have given power to the other person. And as you give power to the other person, you are losing power. You have created a master and become a slave in the situation. Am I clear? One very small thing, just create an expectation, apeksha, and then you are creating the slave yourselves, creating that slave mind. And as we said, slave is the lowest denomination in any society. And then there is a slave syndrome, slave behavior. She has no choice. She may be unhappy. She may say next day she has got a function. She will say, I will not invite my mother. It is predictable. That is the slave reaction. If she was the master, if she was not in this mode, she says she is in charge to experience peace. She is in charge to experience happiness. She is in charge to experience love. So she will say next day, no, mother, it is her choice whether she invites me or not, but I love my mother, I want her to come, and I invite her. That is the master reaction. You are your own master, you are free. You are choosing to be happy. Not someone else chooses to make you happy. You are the master. That is freedom. And that is like choosing a higher quality of life. Now this is mother and a daughter. But you can ask yourselves, in your various relations, people at work, people at home, even strangers, are you creating expectations? And as you create expectations, you are creating masters everywhere. And if there are 10 bosses, your job is more of a misery. So same thing here. If you have created 10 masters, Anyone can upset you. All got buttons, and your mood is decided by all these masters. You are more vulnerable to crisis, and you will think there are crises happening in your life. They are crises because you have created the bondage. Slave is the one who will have more crises. Master will not have crisis. Like this example, for example, the mother doesn't invite. For one person, it may be a major crisis. She's spending the whole day trying to solve this crisis or deal with this. For someone else, it is her choice. That's the end of it. She gets on with her life and day, without any disturbance. So that interpretation is based upon what have I done to my mind in the past. Have I created a slave mind? Have I created a master mind? Sometimes in very close relationships, we feel more justified to create expectations, and it becomes very quick, dysfunctional relationship. If someone is very good, you create more expectations. For example, someone is always very nice to you, always predictable, always doing things. You feel, of course, it will be like this forever, and create expectations. One nice message in the Gita, be prepared for the unexpected. This is a big message and worth underlining this. This is a spiritual message. Be prepared for the unexpected. Why? The world outside, it is not in my control. How other people are going to behave, it is not in my control. And all I can do is observe. And then you are in a right space to create expectation in a world where it is not in your control. It is the foolishness, or agyan that we enter into. So to take that very radical position and say that you remain free and you are more useful that way to others. Let me give another example. Say there is a king and there is a servant. So externally someone is a master and a servant. He is a slave. Externally. That servant has a job to bring coffee to the king at 10 past 11. And he does it regularly and the king is happy. One day, servant decides, I won't bring the coffee to the king. And instead drinks coffee himself and goes home. And if the king is upset now, who is the boss? So you get an idea. Here externally the position is of the king, but internally the mindset can be of the slave. And so the behavior can be of the slave. Reactions, emotions, stages of a slave. And he has a choice, and we all have a choice. On the other hand, there are examples like Gandhi. He would be in prison, but internally master. Not only he, others would be queuing up. They also want to go into prison, join him. No one could make him internally the master. He was free internally. So all kinds of examples we have. And we have some simple thing. If there is a blind spot, if we don't understand this, we can lower the quality of our life very, very quickly. How long does it take to create an expectation? Month, year? 1 second. Let me give you an example. You are going to your office, and just outside your office there is one hungry man sitting there, and he says, I'm hungry, can you give me something to eat? So you say, okay, I miss a meal one day, I can manage that. So you give your lunch box to him. So you want to make him happy, so you did this good action. So you should be happy, he should be happy, life should be good. He opens the lunch box He says, I don't like this. Why are you giving me this vegetarian thing? And he throws your lunchbox into the compost, organic compost bin, and gives you some words for not giving him his lasagna. Are you still happy? Are you still happy? If you are not happy, who made you unhappy? It gives you a scenario, a situation where you are dealing with a complete stranger. Here is a person you don't even know, and you are doing favor on him, and suddenly he has power to upset you. Who gave him that power? And it can only be you. And how do you give the power? Just by creating expectation. You create expectation that he will eat it at least. You spend 1 hour preparing it, someone should eat it. Or expectation may be that he should thank you for you being so holy and so kind. He should tell others that you are an amazing person. Some expectation, and in 1 second he just destroyed your expectation. And you are in a trap. This is a big message. This example especially is a big message for all of us, because here is a gathering who may be involved in doing good actions in different ways. You sacrifice your time, you give your efforts, you use your wealth, and do some good actions. And because you are doing good actions, you can feel justified to create expectation. That message, that karmanna vadikaraste, that message, perform your action but don't create expectation. That is the same. Here you perform the action, but why don't create expectation? Because you become slave. Because you did good actions, you feel justification. Then you are trapped. And once you are a slave, not a lot can be expected from you. You are in a different mindset then. So as an example, say you have done 100 favors on someone. Can be your relation. 100 favors. All your life you've been doing things. You feel justified. Now that you need, he should at least offer you something, the slightest, at least speak to you. Don't create more problems to you. Some kind of expectation will come. And if you create that expectation, you are getting trapped. So good actions, no one forced you to do good actions. But if you want to do it and step back. Then you are very wise, spiritually intelligent. You want to say anything? I like the interaction. Feel free to ask anything.
I put up our children straight away.
Yes. Creating expectations from children, that's true. Like you might spend so much time and, so much goes into bringing children up, and others may not even know, not even realize what has happened behind all this. And some expectations can come. Here the message is clean the slate. You perform action, that's good. That is a reward by itself. When you create expectation, you get trapped at another level. So here we are seeing we create expectations not just from human beings. We create expectations from many things around us. For example, matter, material things. Can you give an example? Like, for example, I may be expecting this technology to function. And if there is an expectation, then I will be affected. If this is not functioning, I will be affected. You may be expecting your car to start when you go to the car park. Are you expecting it to start? Then there is a master sitting in the car park. And that master can upset you. So all over, we can be too innocent about this and go on creating expectations, deep expectations, light expectations, but in time it becomes a dysfunctional life. And for such a person, life is a series of crises. Lots and lots of things can affect him because he is subservient to it. Is it possible to be in this world and do everything, be with people, be in your job and life and everything, maybe in politics, and no expectation? Is it possible? Work hard. Not possible. Some say not possible. Are we made to be slaves? The spiritual message is we are not made to be slaves. And we have the option how we see the things. And that is what we need to understand and learn. But we have to experiment. At a very practical level, you may not even know level of expectations you have created because we don't have a list of things. But over the next week, next month, you will see various things will stand out. For example, your friend, suddenly the friend doesn't want to talk to you. And you will find, if it bothers you, you will feel why it is bothering you. Only because you have created some expectation. Someone behaves differently, you find you have created expectation. And the unseen expectations are under the surface. And only when there is this bondage, expectation and bondage, life can affect you at different level. At small level, but sometimes you think it is a crisis. But as if it is, this question, why someone is doing this, why something is happening. To make plans is a different thing. Say you are a boss, you are a manager, you have to deal with your company, you have to manage some progress and certain direction. So you make the plans, you encourage everyone, you are taking every step to get certain results. Having done that, be prepared for the unexpected. Don't forget this. Keep the plan B ready. Don't get sold in that one idea. Plan B, you know that this might not work at all as you plan, and you should have the second option. Just as we said here, right now we are showing these slides. In any place, it is possible, it might not function last minute. We got the plan B ready here. And same thing in life. Know that things will be not the way you planned, and that is okay. You shouldn't be trapped in it. There is other option in the mind. The life will be different, and you are prepared for it. Here is a nice message from our great philosopher, European philosopher. He was German, Prussia, 200 years ago. And what he says, we look at this world with our own glasses, and these glasses interpret the world for us. So everything is an interpretation. And some have got blue glasses, some have got red glasses, some think world is blue, some think world is red, depends on their glasses. What does that mean? Glasses represent the psychological model, and this model interprets the world for us. As an example, you go to some cultures, like you go to China, some places in China, When a child is born, they think something bad has happened to the child. They cry. You go to another place, in Europe, someone is dying, they will cry for that person. In Tibet, no one cries, someone is dying. There is no sorrow with death. You come to Europe, death means sorrow. Who is right, who is wrong? It tells you we can see the same thing very, very differently. And some of the diplomats and all, they have the training to know the culture, the place, how the society is. Like another example, you go to Hawaii, if you are very fat, you are seen as beautiful. You come to Los Angeles, you have to be really, really thin to be classed as beautiful. So we got one friend in Los Angeles, she's very fat. She decided just to move to Hawaii. So she is right at the top of the social hierarchy there and comes to Los Angeles from time to time on holidays and different life. And this gives you some insight how we have got glasses. You and me, we have got glasses. And we have not chosen our glasses. If you were born in Afghanistan, your dress would be different, your ideas of right and wrong would be different, what you want to achieve will be different. Just because you are born in a certain place, people around you, they decide your glasses. You are born in another place, live in some place, they decide what your glasses should be. And very useful for us to question, now my glasses, is this the way I want to see this world? What we are saying here is our present glasses are the reasons for our slave mentality. These glasses, just like some of your computers have got inbuilt programs within it, you don't have to buy it, they are already there. So here, these glasses come with the program of becoming dependent and create a slave mindset. I won't go further in that today, but enough for us to question this and reflect on this. What are my glasses? And just one question in this connection, how can we know my glasses? Or how can you know anyone else's glasses? So someone you meet, what is his model? What is very important for him? How can you ever know? Language is one big area. If you speak to the person and what he speaks, what is important for him, that gives you a big insight into the model. As a simple, the observation, say you meet a person and he's quiet, then you get some feel about it, but he's quiet, you don't know much. But if he just opens the mouth, just speaks one sentence, you come to know a lot more about that person. Do you agree with this? That's why it is better to keep quiet. So here, yes. So here, our speech and the words we use in our speech gives a big insight into our model. And some of the words, commonly used words in our language, commonly used expression, I want more. And this is like a program for everyone. It is not just in the thoughts, but it is our life. We exist as if to get more. This is like our model of life. It not necessarily physical things, but it may be, I want more attention, I want love, I want respect, me and I want. Now this puts us straight in this position where you are, approaching this world with that slave language. I want. And others are now is charged to fulfill all your expectations and desires. So I will stop there, and it will be nice if you want to say something, and we will come to the other aspect, as we said, the other aspect of the discussion. We will stop the slides and the projector. You might like to say anything or ask anything. You would like to raise?
Yeah. How has this change come about? Because we don't even realize, that the expectations that we have created, they seem quite automatic, and everybody's doing that, And we say everybody's got expectations, There's nothing wrong in that.
Yeah.
How has this change come around?
Yes, as we're saying, and it is true, because it has, we have created this culture of going in that direction, and it appears normal. Our relationships, they are called, once Harvard University sociologist, he says, all marriages are dysfunctional. Question is how dysfunctional? Because idea of marriage ends up becoming each other's slave at some level, different level. And then it becomes a dysfunctional relationship. We have the option. We can be in the relationship without that mind. Sometimes people say, what about if someone else creates expectation? It is their problem. The moment you create expectation, it becomes your problem. So it is nice area to observe this in ourselves and become free, and guaranteed it changes the quality of your life. The way you interpret things will be different. Yeah. Any other thoughts? And maybe you can use this, yeah.
No, I think you can. Would you say body language can tell what kind of
Body language. More important in this is we ourselves know our model. And of course, body language also, but our attitudes and our ideas of what is important, that is what gives us an idea of our model. You wanted to say?
I wanted to say something about crisis.
Mm.
Sometimes, looking back at my past, I thought I actually didn't recognize some crises, and there were crises, and my suffering increased because I didn't see them, that there were crises.
Mm.
I'm talking about problems at work and
Mm.
job.
Mm.
And so how would you really distinguish between pseudo false crisis and the real crisis?
Yeah. Yeah, as we are saying here and emphasizing, and maybe in the discussion now will give even more insight in this, we are questioning what is crisis to start with. And at the end of this discussion, maybe you can come back on this. Yeah?
First of all, thank you very much for an incredible insight into what to say. However, expectation. Everything in life is an expectation. It's only the degree that changes. I get up in the morning, I'm expected to be alive. I want the water to be hot, I expect it to be hot when I'm taking a shower. I go to the car, I switch up, put in the key, I expect the car to run. Everything in this life is an expectation. It's the degree that changes. So what is not expectation?
Mm-hmm. It is like, the part of us has this beautiful attitude of observer. Like if I am in the town, I am observing, the people walking, some shops. I am observing, and there is an acceptance. Some shop may be selling apples, some shop selling something else. There are no expectations there. I just accept the way as it is. And this can extend into more aspects of our life. A part of us, whilst, as we said, whilst you are planning things, more you 100% blanket acceptance for what is presented to us. To play with this. We do it anyway, but we can do it in more situations. And it is good for us. And that helps us remain free.
Yes, some of the expectations. So some of the expectations, looks natural to me. Like, wife works hard cooking all day, and she expects to praise her cooking. Other thing, like, could be the Indian philosophy. In front of your wife, she expects to praise mother-in-laws or the things go smoothly. Those sorts of expectations, I think it comes naturally like that.
Yes. As we said, someone else creates expectations, wife creates expectations. That is her life and her drama. But let me not create expectation that wife will ever praise me. Then I am healthier. Then you are free. The more we become free from all these small expectations, you will have less masters around you and less things to upset you. Otherwise, this example of wife creating expectation, and then one day husband is busy or has no time to, or may choose even. I'm not praising it. And it is predictable. Wife will be in a bad mood. So would anyone like to be so dependent on anyone?
Life without expectation be a boring life, a monotonous life.
Ask yourselves, it is a life of a slave or a master? Which life will be a better quality life? Would slave have an exciting life, or will a master will have an exciting life?
So when we are looking at expectations around health, are you saying we shouldn't expect to have a healthy existence? But the reverse to that would be our expectations should be, well, if you are not healthy, well, what do you expect? How can you free yourself from the probability that you may become unwell?
Yeah. As we are emphasizing the difference between planning and expecting, to know this difference. You are planning for the best, planning for your company to get the best results. You are planning for your family to perform the best, and planning for body health. That's very good. But this is another healthy attitude when you can accept things as they come. Then it is not becoming a bigger problem when you are having that strength to handle it. If you don't have that strength to handle it, it becomes bigger problem. Something small becomes a crisis. Like here, husband not praising the food can become a big crisis. For another person, it may not be a crisis. Understand? You just create an expectation, get into, and it is possible. One person can be really in a bad mood whole day because of one little behavior of one person and put her into crisis. So that itself is an unhealthy mind. And we were saying earlier, type A people, just because of their mind, they have 7 times more heart attacks than type B people.
So that on that note, what's the quickest way to shift your thinking from a slave to a mastermind?
Yeah, one beautiful secret here is the way we look at this world outside. That is a secret. What is my idea of this world? How much I am slave to this world, everything, including this physical body, and we have the option to change the attitude there. And I will talk a little bit more on this in more detail also. Any comments on this side? This side is very active. Is this any reason why this is a bit quiet?
They are the masters.
Yes?
When you talk about crisis or conflicts, yeah, I sometimes think that you have to understand the other side and their behavior, and that behavior then creates their reaction. For me, crisis or conflict is about how you manage them, and it's a challenge.
Sure. Yeah, excellent. And 2 aspects. One is to see something as crisis, and then second part is how you deal with it. But here we are also questioning, is anything crisis at all? Or am I making crisis in my head? That's what we are questioning. Now we'll come to the second part of our discussion, and that is this interpretation part. In philosophy and in science, there are 3 ways we can look at this world. And I won't use the board, or should I write some things on this? One model is called idealistic model. And in this thinking, God exists or consciousness exists, and everything is the experience of the consciousness. Is it possible to lower this light? This is better. So that is called idealistic thinking. Like some sannyasis and even Buddhism, possibly the thinking, consciousness exists, and everything is a dream of that consciousness, or some may say it is God. And in quantum physics, there is a thinking, monistic idealism. These are quantum physics books, so that is idealistic thinking. Other model of looking at this world is materialistic. Materialist. I can't think of the spelling. Listic. So in this model, matter exists, and matter has evolved, matter has created a brain, and then from brain comes consciousness. Matter is the only thing that exists, nothing else exists. Am I clear? So that is called materialistic thinking. Most of the science, maybe 98% of your BBC programs are all trying to promote the materialistic thinking. God doesn't exist, soul doesn't exist, only the matter exists. And it is all chemical reactions of the matter. That is that thinking. And third model is called dualistic. So dualist thinking. And in this thinking, matter exists and the soul exists, or consciousness exists, and it is an interplay of these two. So that is a third thinking. So these are like three broad categories to explain this creation, how the matter exists and how this world exists. Now, if you are to reflect of these three options, which is likely to be the right one for you, and why? Dualistic, and why? And as I said, 98% of the population and your BBC program, the television programs are around materialistic thinking. Very few may be thinking of idealistic. Idealistic thinking, simple thing, consciousness exists. Only in this universe, only there is a consciousness, or some might call it God. God exists. And it is all a dream. God is experiencing, the dream. So this is all the experience of that God. And matter really doesn't exist. It is just what is happening in that consciousness. That is that model. And materialistic model is matter exists, God doesn't exist, consciousness doesn't exist. And dualist, it is a play, interplay of two. Why you think any of this, and you tell me and why, what is your reason for thinking, whichever model it is.
I think you have to interact with your environment, with those around you.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that you believe you're a soul and you believe in God and that consciousness, but you still have to interact. And it's how you interact. So it's basically, you have to realize.
Yeah. Okay, let me present my reason, an argument why any of this could be. If you are in our human beings, very deep instincts for dualistic life. As an example, every one of us like to go on holidays. Do you agree? Anyone here who doesn't like holiday? And what happens in holiday? This whole model of holiday, you got your primary life, for 1 week you go into another activity and you call it a nice time. But as long as you have your home, then the holiday fits in. We all like to listen to a story. Agree? What happens in a story? You got your life, and for nice to hear a story. The children, adults, everyone likes stories. Anyone here who doesn't like a story? You can raise hands if you don't like. But we like stories, deep instinct, and we think it is a good time to listen to story. We create dramas, we like to act in a drama, we like to watch drama. Again, there is primary, there is secondary reality. We all like to play games, play different sport. Again, what is happening here is the same thing. 73% of the employment in Europe is in the service field, entertainment field. These are the sort of areas where lots of entertainment, jobs are taken over. And we all like roller coaster, at least some of us. What happens in a roller coaster? What happens in a roller coaster? You got your life, you got your world. For 5 minutes you go on this ride. You are going up and down and thrown in the side, and some ghost sounds, all this is going on. And you come back and you say you had a great time. What happened? How come? And that's right. You pay money to go for this. Some friends of mine, they went to some place in Florida with the family, especially went to this place because they got the fastest and scariest roller coaster there. And so went all the way to. Now, imagine, I'll give you one scenario. This is a great place, roller coaster, in this Marylebone in Florida. So you take your grand uncle to this place. He doesn't know what is going on, and you want to give him a great time. So he is sitting in this roller coaster place. Something is rattling, something is going up and down and throwing sideways. Will he have a great time? Will it be a crisis for him? It will be a torture. What is the difference? For one person it was a great time, for another person it is a torture. What was the difference? Yes, the attitude. If you have not understood what is going on, if you don't know your primary reality, if you don't know absolute security of your primary reality, then what you are experiencing, you can't enjoy it. You roll up all of these things, drama or play or story, they all are great as long as you are connected to the primary world. If you lose yourself in it, that is your only world, you don't know your primary world, then you can't enjoy any of them. So also here, in this old man sitting in a roller coaster, if he's sitting there and he doesn't know that he's safe, he is totally secure, he doesn't know this, then he cannot enjoy it. So also you won't enjoy it. If you are in a roller coaster and you don't know you are safe, you will not enjoy it. Feeling secure is an absolute prerequisite in this. Now let us see the spiritual model, and that answers also the question that was asked, how can we bring about a big change? Spiritual model tells us that there is a primary reality, and this reality is eternal, and this reality is eternally safe. It is secure in an absolute way. Everything is secure. You are safe, your family is safe, your father eternally safe, your home in an absolute way. And this whole physical world that you are coming here, it is extra. You don't need this. It is an extra gift. It becomes a gift. Whenever something is extra, like a story or a drama, it becomes a gift. Even this roller coaster, they go all the way to Marylebone because it is a gift. It appears like a gift. And especially, it is like a treat for them. So also here, when you are connected to the primary, then this world is a gift. And this box that is shown here, it is a drama, it is also a story, it is also a roller coaster, it is also a circus, it is also a play, it is also a dream, It is all of this. It fulfills the criteria of all these. And you can enjoy every aspect of this, different aspects, if you are connected to the primary. There is no answer. Just as the roller coaster, we can spoil it completely. So also a story, you can spoil anything completely. It is meant for joke, meant for entertainment, and if your positioning is wrong, it gets spoiled. You can't enjoy it. It becomes a torture. It becomes an offense. Same thing here. If your positioning is not right, this whole, what is meant to be a great thing, great gift, becomes an offense, becomes a crisis, and becomes a torture. We can fight with it, and we can try to change it, but the ultimate answer is, I have to wake up and see the game as a game, see the reality, the primary reality, and then see the things the right way up, and then enjoy it. Instead of crisis, it becomes opportunity, it becomes fun. You might like to say something? Or ask, someone wanted to ask something at some point?
You talk about primary reality, and you said its nature is absolute.
Yes.
How do I know? Because in each tradition, after a while, after a certain level, we are asked to believe. Just
Yes.
believe.
Yes.
Just have faith.
Yes.
I don't have that sort of faith. I want to know.
Okay. Let me put it another way. The option we have is, the other model is, this is everything. This physical world is everything. Of course, I can see it and I can touch it, but that is everything. I have no proof of that either. I know that this exists, but this is the only thing that I don't have a proof. So both models have equal weight. Understand? One model is that this is secondary and there is a primary. Other model is, this is everything, this is primary and this is everything. Both models have equal weight. So I am free to try both. And my suggestion is, try this model, if we call it a dualistic model. Play with this dualistic model. Experience the fun, experience the security, joy, and then look for the evidence. And when I do find the evidence, I can always change, if in the future. But in the meantime, let me enjoy the fun of the higher consciousness. Microphone. Yeah.
Is it that our problems multiply because I have forgotten who I really am, and I'm sort of, I've got caught up into the roller coaster, so to speak.
Yeah. One logical thinking here. If I want to know which is the right posture, how can I know? If we can sit in many postures, I can sit like this. How can I know what is the right posture? Posture that doesn't give you pain, that is likely to be the right posture. If you sit in the wrong posture, it will give you pain, sooner or later. Understand us? And nature is constantly, if some food you are eating, it is not creating pain, nausea, bad smell, then that is the right food for you. If it causes bad smell, then it is poison for you. So, same thing here. If I lead a life with this dualistic position, there is no pain. And that gives you a big insight that that may be the right posture. The moment I go into other posture, I am in that trap of all kinds, vulnerable to all kinds of feelings, emotions, crises, traumas. That becomes the life. That itself is a signal that the posture is wrong. Indirect evidence, but gives us the insight that you may not be wrong in basing this as a model. And as you said, once we start with this, something wakes up inside and you discover something is asleep that wakes up, that can experience things. Until then, we cannot experience it. It is a bit like I am in this room with closed doors, and I'm told there is a bigger city outside of this, but I won't find the evidence in this room. Good questions, but all are on this side. Has Bhupen made an arrangement only those who are silent should sit on this side? Natalie, is that some kind of a strict condition? Yes.
When a person outside the self has expectations, which is their problem, I accept that. That puts the person who is the self in a position of meeting those expectations or not meeting those expectations. If that self doesn't meet that person's expectations, how is deliberately not meeting a person's expectations different from ignoring the request in the first place, from just being completely indifferent? Because it seems to me that there are 3 nuances that tell something about that person who's got a choice of indifference, of not meeting it, or deliberately saying, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to, because, bracket, I don't like you.
Yes. Good question. What happens here, more you remain free, you might be willing to do more than the expectations of the others. Because you love. And that our natural instinct and the natural nature of human being is love. So you want to give the best and you want to fulfill the expectations of others. You want to. But let it not be a bondage. Don't feel trapped in that. You don't want to do it because it is manipulated in some way. That is not a healthy relationship. It is a dysfunctional foundation. If it is coming from your freedom, that is a healthy foundation. But normally a person who is, we all would like to fulfill the expectations of others. But higher thing is to make others free from expectation. Then they will have an even higher quality of life. It is like making a slave happy is one thing, and making the other person a master, that is even higher. Yeah?
I have battled with this idea all my life. And I'm hearing from you a totally different view of life for me. We talked about 2, materialistic world and idealistic world. And the reason I say dualistic, because I have faith, but I believe in the materialistic world. Let me give you an example. You're a surgeon, I'm a surgeon. During my training, you prepare a muscle nerve preparation. And when you put an epinephrine on it, the muscle becomes live. human being dies when the chemical control of the body is gone, whether it's totally exhausted, whatever. That's why I have always believed in materialistic world. But I have tremendous faith in Krishna, and Krishna has taken me through life at many, many, many times in my life. So how do I really believe in this idealistic world? Show me the proof. I can't just accept it. See what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm sincerely asking you this question because I've never asked anybody this question. I truly feel very strongly about materialistic world, particularly with death and dying.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in this whole thing, a simple step for us is to experiment. Based on some basic, little help that is offered, we have to start playing with it. For example, this sketch here is, I feel, very, very essential for that to go into our system, so that we see the world with a broad intellect, Vishal Buddhi. Ordinarily, we are all trapped in this world. Pettiness. Mind is going in some cyclical thoughts, some petty thoughts, constantly. Give this mind a bigger map, bigger vision, and different process starts. The moment you start seeing bigger map, then what would have bothered you in the past, that doesn't bother you anymore. What you would have created, expectations and traps and attachments, you find it is strange to get into those kind of things. And then you are experiencing this higher attitudes, mind where there is deep security, mind that is not bothered or having this big fear of death and fear of loss, becoming free from it. That is a big achievement for anyone. And even if you get glimpses of that, that is a very, very useful start. Starts by just seeing this map. I might encourage you to draw something like this, keep it in your main room, and each time you look at it, that will give you an experience. Just a little glimpse of seeing on another scale. And that higher security, higher peace, and experience is authority. Only when you start getting these experiences, you know from another level. Let us create some minutes of practice, and then we can have a little more discussion also. But I will speak few words and let us experiment with this. As always, we keep the body comfortable. It can be any posture, but we keep the head raised, shoulders relaxed. Tell the body to relax. And we have the option to use Paras Buddhi. And with Paras Buddhi, we see the whole physical world as a story. Paras Buddhi includes broad intellect. It is like it includes divine intellect, spiritual sight. So everything that we saw today, it appears, it happened in a story. And everything that happened in the past, it's a story. There is nothing to complain about in a story. Nothing to worry about in a story. There are no traumas and there are no crises. There are different episodes. We see the world beyond. World beyond is calm, unaffected by the story. World beyond the story is reality. This is the world of light. This is the true world, the primary world. World of eternal security. For Parasbuddhi, this is not a concept. This is his home. This is the home of the souls. For the awake soul, it is normal to be immortal. It is normal to belong to this sky. It is normal to be secure forever. Normal to be invisible. Normal to be content and be free from expectations in the story. Normal to be master forever. No reason to be slave in that story. It is normal that this whole physical world is a great story and a great theater. As we continue on our journey in the sky and on earth, we remind ourselves of our beautiful truth. We remind ourselves of our complete truth. Thank you.
Prashant Bhai, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing some deep insight. I have a feeling there's a lot of type personality A's becoming type personality B's. Slaves are becoming masters, but be careful, masters can become slaves as well. So make sure you're wearing the right glasses and they're all clear. So we're all seeing the same thing. So thank you for coming and sharing some wonderful insights and some very good questions. I thought they were very thought-provoking questions and some answers that making us think. So if you're interested in exploring some of the information that Prashant Bhai has given, you can find further details in some of the courses that we deliver in positive thinking, self-esteem, stress-free living, and Raja Yoga meditation.